Hello, Ectosage here on the Sage channel. That is Sleep, Art, Game, and Eat. And today an update came out that added a few little things. And you might notice this little panel here in front of me, or I call it a panel. It's really a bunch of landing gear setup. And you might be saying, oh, what's he going to do with that? This is actually something you'll find on basically any survival level you load up now, or any quick start level. This is just an automatically added thing, as well as the usual stuff that you see scattered about here. Now, I have done some other things. You can already see sort of what's coming with these gravity generators. But first off, I'm going to cover over a new sort of painting system they've put in the game. Now, usually you would use the, what are these keys called? Brackets keys to skip through all of the colors that you have. And you might notice there's actually some new ones here. That's because if we were to go into this menu here by pressing P, you can now see we have an assortment of different colors and a bunch of different sliders. And we'll start out with this gray one, which is our basic gray. And if I press OK, you can still paint like usual. And you might notice there's no change, of course, because it is a gray. Now, if we were to open that back up, and let's say we want to edit this preset here. These are all presets. And let's say we want to have, it's set to red. Let's say a little bit of yellow in there. Hey, you're not seeing any change here yet, but if I start upping its saturation, instantly you can see it's heavily saturated now. Let's drop it down to there, and now let's say we actually want the whole thing to be a bit darker, so you can darken it like so, and there we go. Now it's nice and dark, and if I press OK, I can now just mouse drag and do this. I can do control to paint a bit bigger area as per usual, and of course hold shift to paint a large swath of stuff. And let's say I like that, but maybe I want to edit a bit, but I want to keep the original. So let's select another one of the presets, and actually you don't even have to press OK. You can just press P again to exit, and it'll be on whatever one. And now let's do SHIFT+P aiming at this, and now you'll be able to see if we open up P again, it's overwritten that preset that we had selected with whatever we were aiming at. Basically, SHIFT+P is your color picker, and so now I can say, okay, cool, I got the copy of that one. Basically, let's go ahead and drop that saturation. Actually, no, let's keep the saturation. I want more orange though. Let's up the saturation and make it more orange. And it's a bit dark, so we can up that, and you can basically keep fiddling with this. It's very nice, very quick, and you can of course then paint through with however you like. And of course, this all works on heavy armor as well, and is pretty dang awesome actually. And my favorite so far, if I was to pop this open, let's select you, and let's just really quickly try to get what I think was my favorite here. Let's get a bit more red all the way up. That's pretty good. This is probably one of my favorites right now. It's just this sort of like blood red sort of thing. I like it a lot. Anyway, that's enough of the color. You can see basically it's a pretty powerful tool. Again, it's the P to open this and Shift+P to grab whatever. And if you decide you want to reset all these to defaults, you can just click the defaults button, and boom, all your presets are set back to default. And also, if you made your own presets here, you can of course use those bracket keys to tab through them. Anyway, let's go back to just a nice gray, and I'll do that by doing the Shift+P. And remember also, by the way, even if, like, let's say you grab this, and let's say now you grab this, and you want to make it the same thing basically. So again, we do the Shift+P, the color pick, and then you say, well, maybe I just want like one spot here that's just a little bit darker, so I'll take this second one and just make it that little bit darker. If you're painting with this, you're going to get borders between the two different types of paint, so just remember that if it's not the exact same color setup and everything, it's going to be having a border there, so that might come in handy. Anyway, let's come over here, and this is basically my gravity demonstration area to do a really quick demonstration on what they've done with gravity generators today. And they've actually put in a lot of stuff. So here we go. You can see I got right up to this, and only then did I get into the gravity field. Look at that. Oh wow, tiny gravity field indeed. You can now edit the sizes of gravity fields and actually even their strength. So right here you can see I jump and I go up decent height very slowly. I go up to this one, same height, but a little bit faster, and basically that's how it works. Even though gravity generators have different strengths, you can't really jump any more than the same height, but it does increase the speed at which you fall, so, or how quickly you come back down, I should say. And then this last one, actually, you can even set them to be reversed. So there you go, you see I've got it reversed, now I walk back this way, and of course it pulls me back down to the way I originally was. Anyway, let's run out of this. You've gotten the basic idea of that. I'll explain it a bit more over here on this panel. So let's pop down a gravity generator and a proper generator to keep them both powered. And now we can pop into here. And basically the best way to remember these new settings that they've added to the gravity generator is, well, let's see. If you were to think of width as whenever you're facing the control panel on the gravity generator, it's always how these are going to be set up. So if you're facing the gravity generator's control panel, width is to the left and to the right of it. Depth, the one right here, is sort of this way and this way. So basically in front of you and behind you while you're facing this. And the height is, of course, very simple. The height above and below the gravity generator. And these numbers are basically, if I set this to, let's say, let's do 7. And then let's do 7 on this. That is basically going to be 7 to the left and 7 to the right, and 7 behind me and 7 in front of me, at least from the center point of this gravity generator. So if I walk away very quickly, now we're in 0 gravity. And of course I can float back in, and if we were to come upwards, you can see we can stay within it for a long time because I left the height set to, well, basically show up forever. If you really want to see these things looked, you can do Alt-Shift-F12. And it'll give you this little warning basically saying that you're opening something they intended for modders, but everyone can look at it. And this is basically showing the collision meshes and gravitational fields of things. So you can see here, this is our gravitational field shooting up pretty much 150 meters in each direction, and then 7 at each direction from the center point of the gravity generator. Very, very cool stuff. Be warned, if you have any custom models, this might actually cause a crash, so just be careful with this and save early, save often. What else do we have here? I think that's about it for this. Now we can go over and just see some of the other cool stuff that is over here. Also, listen, did you hear that? I'm hearing sounds, are you? Yes, they have indeed added some new sounds to a lot of stuff. So really quickly, let me demonstrate some of those. And to properly demonstrate them, I have indeed turned up my sound. So here we go. When we're clicking through these, listen. They now have a really, really, really nice sound to switching between them all. I like it. And then when you put them down, they even have a nice sound with that when you remove them. They have some really, really nice sounds with all this now. And I'm actually very, very happy with all that. Alrighty, really quickly, I just thought I'd cut this in here before I go inside the building. They have also added something, or at least changed something with cockpits and how you get in and out of them. Now, in the patch notes, they did say they added a back way to get into cockpits. That's actually been there for a little bit, but what they didn't really say is that now, whenever you get in and out of a cockpit, really simply, I'll just toss this there, and notice where I am when I'm getting into it. I'm floating here looking at it such as this, and I get out and I'm in the same spot. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? Now it sort of keeps an idea on where you were when you got into it. That way, it doesn't just randomly place you out of it, and it'll actually probably stop any issues you might have been getting where you got out of the cockpit and suddenly you were a couple thousand meters away from everything. It's pretty nice. And also, listen to those sounds. Sorry, I like that a lot. Anyway, okay, back to the normal video. So let's now head inside, and you can see something new in here pretty much right away. What is this, you might be asking yourself? What is this strange hallway here? No, this is not a custom model. This is something they've just added today, and this is actually a replacement for the ladder block. So, in here we have a passage block where the ladder used to be. The ladder is now completely gone. Maybe we'll see it return someday, but who knows? But anyway, the little passageway is basically just what it is on the tin. It is a passageway. And basically, if I was to put one down on its own, let's do that outside so we have a nice amount of space, you can see what it looks like for yourself. And the passageway originally was sort of just a replacement for the ladder. Sort of up and down passageway, but oh dearie, I had flown into one of my gravity generators that push stuff around in these pipes that you might have noticed. But you can see it was basically intended as a up-down sort of replacement for the ladder, at least at very, very first, I'm sure. But then, of course, it becomes very clear that, hey, this makes a wonderful hallway. The only downside to these currently, though, would be the fact that lighting is a bit troublesome in them, and that there's no L joints or anything, or X joints or anything to get through it. So if you want to light one of these up, currently basically what you end up having to do is something such as this, where you have to put the light above it, because you cannot, as much as I would like to, be able to just put the light right here on the ceiling. Unfortunately, they don't allow anything like that. Hopefully in the future they will, to allow stuff to be more compact and speed things up. Which is basically why when I was in here, you might have noticed that there isn't much lighting going on. That's because I have this grate directly above it, so there's not really any room for lighting, except for right here where I bumped it up even farther and stuck a light in. Now, this is one of those points where I would like to have an X joint here, and then maybe if I wanted more hallways, I'd have them basically come out this way to here, and then I'd put an L joint in and then carry it on this way. Now I was hoping that we'll see something like that soon, different types of this block, and I'm hoping that we'll see something sort of like what I was hoping for, switching between heavy blocks and light blocks, where you basically hold shift and then press the number of whatever block you have, and it'll toggle between different types of them. I'm hoping for the same thing with these. Basically, I have this on my 6 key, so I'd hold shift 6, and every time I'd press that, it would toggle between basically what I have now, an L block, an X block, or maybe even a special dead end block. LX, what am I missing? Ah, a T junction, yes. So I'd like to be able to basically toggle through a bunch of those. Anyway, that's about it for those. So the only other thing left to really show is this area up here, and also changes in multiplayer. So I'm basically going to show you what this is. This is basically like a transport pipe, basically using gravity generators to pull supplies down these large tubes to different places. You can see the gravity generators out there. They're not exactly set up ideally. Ideally, they'd probably be set to push instead of pull towards them. That way you could have them turn off just before they reach a corner. That way the next gravity generator could just grab them and pull instantly. And you see I'm being tossed about pretty quickly in here, and I've actually just flown back through the center of the building. But while I'm in here now, I'll now start talking about what they've done in multiplayer. And a whole lot of stuff that used to be client-side, such as landing gears, lights, actual ship systems, they're all now actually server-side. So I have some footage here of my friend basically tweaking a light, and you can actually see the light changing color. Very nice, very useful. We also tested out landing gears. They're still pretty glitchy, but they're slightly better than they used to be, so you're not going to instantly explode, even though, well, we did have a bit of an explosion. And also they changed ship systems, so you can properly toggle your ship systems off, and it'll affect another ship. So you can see my friend shuts off his lighting there, and light shuts off, same with his engines and all that. It's very nice, very useful, and of course you can see me shutting and turning on my systems, so that's very nice. Storage containers, unfortunately you cannot see the same stuff inside storage containers. When I mine, I cannot see anything. Apparently that is actually only the host who can see supplies popping out while you're mining. I'm thinking this is either just a limitation currently and they're working on it, or it might actually be in place to prevent people from joining your server and then basically running about and stealing your materials that, well, are on only your server. Because even when I was mining, I wasn't seeing anything just flying away from the asteroid. Bit strange. Anyway, that's about it for this update. There's a bunch of little other fixes and stuff like that. Check the patch notes, check the description on this video. You'll be seeing them there. And anyway, I think that's all of it. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.